Welcome back. The weather's getting cold and fires increase. I'll be back to give you some information that will help you save your property and maybe even your life. Welcome to How You're an Adjuster. My name is Curtis Horge, your licensed independent public insurance adjuster. When the weather gets cold, fire losses also increase. And I want to give you some information and make sure you're prepared for this new season. When it gets cold outside, fires take off, properties burn. That's just the nature. Most of the contractors know that when it gets cold, fire losses are going to increase. We've already seen that through the years, and I want to talk to you about some things that possibly help you that can save your property and possibly save your life. First off, check your fire alarms and also your carbon monoxide detectors. Make sure they work. Make sure the alarm works on it. Check your batteries. If it's actually wired in, make sure everybody in the house knows the alarm and what it sounds like. Very, very important. If you don't have smoke alarms, please get them because they're very vital to saving lives. They're the first response in any situation when you have a fire. You may be asleep, you may be busy and not know what's going on, but fire are the first response to make sure you are alerted at that time. And I encourage you to buy some for your house. They're very inexpensive. They're very reasonable. So it's a good thing to have those. Make sure your family has a designated area where everybody can meet so everyone can be accounted for. It's very, very important to make sure everybody gets outside your house. If there is a fire that occurs, make sure that everybody's accounted for. Definitely call 911 and don't go back in the house. Have your air conditioning checked. Make sure you change your filters. It's very, very important you do that. It's the time of year we got to do that. If at all possible, try to get your air ducts cleaned. There are companies that do that. They're not very expensive to do. It's a good thing to get all the dust out of there to make sure you don't have anything that could make a fire get more intense. Checking your HVAC system is very, very important. Also, turn on your heater in the middle of the day. I do mine usually in the middle of the day or early in the morning to make sure I get that smell out of it that, we didn't turn your heat on all year. It's been sitting dormant. And it kind of blows out the system and everything and gets it prepared. But before I do that, I change my filter. But make sure that you get the heater used to kind of getting ready to go into the winter season so it can be producing and do what it needs to do. Be careful with candles or space heaters. Those things are very, very sensitive during fires. A lot of fires are started by candles. A lot of fires are started by space heaters. If you got a candle, make sure it's in an open area, flat surface. Make sure it's not anywhere anybody can tip it over, any child can tip it over, anything like that, because candle wax is hot. It does start fires. Be careful with that. Also, space heaters, make sure they're plugged directly into the wall, not with an extension cord or a surge protector. That will cause a fire. I've seen a lot of people, I've been in a lot of situations, people don't have central AC and heating. The way they get warm, they use their stove. They open their stove up and they'll warm the house just with the stove. But be careful with that and never go to sleep with something like that going. You just can't do it because it's too risky. I mean, it will start a fire. It's not meant to warm the house. It's only meant to warm and cook your food. And people use like gas stove. They use electrical stoves and leave them on with all the grills on high to try to get heat. Don't do that. If you can avoid that at all possible, please do, because that's very dangerous and that could cause a fire immediately. The space heaters, don't use extension cords. Please don't do that because any extension cords or surge protectors, it's just not meant to be connected to a space heater. You got to make sure that you plug it directly into the wall. Very, very important. Avoid using the dishwasher or the washer and dryer when you sleep. Make sure they finish your cycle before you go to sleep. Don't leave those things running. Leave the dryer on and go to bed. Leave the washer on, go to bed. Leave the dishwasher on, go to bed. Appliances start more fires. They start a lot of fires. A lot of fires are made through appliances. Sometimes the insurance company can subrogate against the manufacturer for a faulty switch or whatever. But, that's just for them to compensate anything they have lost and maybe get you back your deductible, but your house is burned and destroyed because of this situation. So please do not use those things going to sleep. It's very, very dangerous to do that. If you have any electrical issues, make sure any light flickering or anything, problem with plugs, get that stuff checked out by a certified electrician to make sure that, is dealt with before you go into the cold season, because cold even makes those things worse. Everything get cold, it gets kind of, even we get cold, we get a little achy. That's a human nature. But I just say be careful to make sure you have that checked out to make sure it's not anything that could cause a fire. If you have a fireplace, make sure that you get your fireplace cleaned by a certified chimney sweeper. I don't really trust the logs that say they're sweeping your chimney. I mean, they may do some good as far as keeping the maintenance up on them, but you got to make sure the chimney inspector looks at any leakage or any type of opening or gaps or cracks, because that's letting the heat out, because that could actually start fires in your wall. I handled a lot of fireplace fires. People got the logs in, they're going good, but then next thing you know, upstairs in the wall, there's a fire. It catches onto the side of the house, gets into the attic, and it takes off. So you got to be very careful with dealing with fireplaces, and make sure you do not go to bed with a fireplace still having logs in it. Put it out before you go to bed. Let it burn itself out, and make sure that you don't have a live log in there when you're going to sleep, because I don't know about the situation where people have died in fires in their sleep, but I think the situation is they sleep on. They don't wake up. The smoke makes you sleep. And so they just sleep. The smoke in the house, it just knocks them out even further, and unless somebody know they're in there, then they never get pulled out, and it's a bad situation. But I remember my dad said years ago he had one of his clients that had a fire in a house. They had bar gates on the windows, and they left their dryer on to go to sleep, and the dryer caught on fire, and they couldn't get out. And they had the bar gates on the windows, so it was like they was caught in there. They couldn't get out. Bar gates are meant to protect you, not contain you. And now the city is make sure that they have these push outs on the bars now to make sure people can get out of any room. We used to have like one security gate on one of the bars that had a key to it. All the rest of them, you just couldn't get out. If you're in that room, you're in trouble. But now they actually kind of changed it where the people can kind of push them out from the inside. But I'm saying make sure that you don't use any appliances going to bed. It's very, very important, because those things cause a lot of fires. Be mindful, be watchful. Make sure you're being very careful during this winter season. Protect yourself from fire loss. If you do see a fire, please report it. Call 911. Make sure you can, if you're in a fire, try to get everybody out as much as you can. Don't go back in if the fire is bad. I know people are going to do that anyway. You know what I'm saying? They got pets. They got all kind of things they're going to be dealing with. But I just ask that you be careful as you can. Want to see you alive in 2025. Is it like a motto? Because there's a lot more to tell you about what you need to know. And there's a lot of things that are changing. So I appreciate it. Talk to your agent. Make sure you have the proper fire coverage. Make sure you got proper coverage on your insurance policy. And that's all I got to say. I appreciate you guys for listening. If you have any questions, call me. My number is 214-543-9440. With National Adjustment Services, this is HireYourOwnAdjuster.com, your licensed and bonded public insurance adjuster. We'll see you later.